It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. And if you want to listen to the podcast of this show, search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get podcasts. Would appreciate a follow, a share, telling your friends about it. You know, this is the last live edition of the News Blitz for 2024. Now, you'll hear some of the best of the News Blitz. I have handcrafted some of the best shows that we've done this year, including the Happy Hour Fridays, and you'll hear that for the next week and a half, and it's going to be some really good stuff. But I'm so excited that I got to do this show. It's been something that I look forward to every single day, and it's a dream come true doing this, and I'm so happy to bring this show to you every day. Sometimes we have a little fun. Sometimes we do something that's really important, like yesterday with the crisis at the LA County Probation Department, which that podcast is blowing up, so that's very exciting. But thank you all so much for being a part of this show, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season ahead of you, and we look forward to a really, really, really great 2025 together. I'll be here every single day doing this show and, of course, doing the John Phillips Show, and it's just, I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. We'll get sentimental later. We get something important to get into. Well, important to me. Last night was a very Los Angeles night for me. Because last night, my wife and I did something we don't usually do, which is go out on a weeknight. Especially since I got the 5 o'clock show, it just gets that more difficult to, be able to get out the door, go get something done. She's over 40. I'm about to turn 40. 10 o'clock is late. We're looking to go to the movies this weekend. And like if a show starts at 7 and it's 2.5 hours, it's like, it's not going to be over till after 10, and I can't hit pause and watch the second half later. I am getting so lazy. Also, not totally my fault. Why are movies so long? Why is half of Wicked 2 hours and 40 minutes? The whole play with intermission is only 3 hours. So how much padding is there? Maybe I'll find out this weekend. Maybe not. I don't know. We might get tired and have to go to sleep. But yes, one of the things that I have sacrificed in order to bring this 5 o'clock show to you is the ability to go to happy hour. But that's okay, because we have our own happy hour. And you know what? Because it's my last show of the year, even though it's not Friday, we're counting it as a happy hour show. I want to tell you what happened last night, because a few weeks ago, no, this might have been a couple months ago, my wife and I were talking about our love of musical theater. You know what it was? We went to go see this little production of Little Shop of Horrors in Thousand Oaks, and it was spectacular. It was really well done. My wife loves Little Shop of Horrors, and we were kind of on this musical high, looking at what else was coming out throughout the year, and my wife starts saying, Sutton Foster, Sutton Foster. I'm like, I don't know who that is. Who is Sutton Foster? And she says, you don't know who Sutton Foster is? Then we go through and look through a bunch of videos. A Broadway star, very big in New York. She's coming to Los Angeles. Why? Because she is starring in a downtown LA production of Once Upon a Mattress, the comedy musical telling of The Princess and the Pea at the Amundsen Theater. So she got us tickets. And it was finally the day. And we were getting real excited. We were trying to plan out our evening because, it's a tight schedule. I get off at 6. We got to somehow get to downtown LA in the middle of rush hour traffic. Got to figure out, do we eat here? Do we eat there? There's not really. Last time we went to the Amundsen, which was 2 years ago, beautiful venue, but like the restaurants that are there in that center theater group area are very crowded and you're not likely to get in. So we're trying to figure out what to do. And then I started looking around because she was trying to look at dinner reservations for places around the theater. That wasn't working out. And then I came up with an awesome plan because this year my wife and I got turned on to, we become smash burger people. And I know it's real trendy right now. It's a real fad, but oh, is it so good? We love the caramelization. And so we really love this chain for the win. They've got locations all over right now. They've got them in Alhambra. They've got them in downtown LA. They've got one in Van Nuys. That's how we got onto it. And not only is it smash burgers, but they have gluten-free buns. And that means my wife can enjoy a burger the way a burger is intended, not lettuce wrap. Nothing wrong with protein style at In-N-Out Burger, but sometimes you want the food hug that is holding two buns with meat in between. And there's something about the caramelization of those burgers. Anyway, so we love that burger. It's real good. I happen to know, because I follow these people on Instagram, where all their locations are. And I always remembered there was one at the Grand Central Market. And I've never been to the Grand Central Market, but I know what it is. You know, very kitschy, old school food hall with a whole bunch of, it's like a cool kids food court right there in downtown LA. So I craft up a plan when she's like, I don't know where we're going to eat. What are we going to do? And we could always have leftovers here. That's always no problem. But I'm like, why don't we at 6 o'clock feed the dogs, put them away. I'm also watching the neighbor's cat. Go check on the cat real quick. Get back here, 6:15, Uber up, get to downtown LA. We'll take and I say Uber, but I always use Lyft. It's just Uber is the verb. Lyft isn't. I don't know what that is. So we take the Lyft to Grand Central Market. We'll get our smash burger on, and then we can walk from Grand Central Market to the Amundsen Theater. It's not that cold. This is going to work out great. But of course, that would be life in a perfect world without, busy things that happen and traffic. So I get off by the way, the whole time I'm doing the show yesterday in the commercial breaks, I'm like checking my Lyft app and I'm checking the maps. How long is it going to take to get to downtown LA? How much is the Lyft going to cost? Which, whatever. We've already decided to do this. I'd much rather pay for a rideshare than have to figure out parking and driving in downtown LA with all the one-way streets. It's just not my thing. I'm already not that great of a driver. Don't need to deal with that headache. So it's getting close to 6 o'clock. It looks like it's going to take an hour and a half to get there. I'm like, oh, this is going to be tight. I don't know what we're going to be able to do. So I get off the air. I run over, feed the neighbor's cat, feed our dogs, take them outside, ready to go. My wife has a work of emergency that comes up, so we get to stay for a few more minutes. And then we're about to leave, and she can't figure out how to get the tickets on her phone because their website is confusing, and it's not as simple as it used to be where you just print out tickets. No, you've got to log in on the website, but it wasn't working on her phone, and it wasn't working on the app, so that delayed us another couple minutes. We got to the point where we realized we're not eating before this show. It's just not happening. Like, we would cut it way too close. Plus, I was devising a plan where, okay, what if we Uber to the Grand Central Market and I order ahead the burgers that we want from For the Win, and we just pick them up, slam them down, get on our way. But it just wasn't timing out. And on top of that, For the Win's website wasn't taking pre-orders. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was closed. I don't know. So luckily, I had a big lunch, and I ate lunch at 4, so I wasn't that hungry. My wife ate later than she usually does, so we weren't starving. But we realized that it's just not going to time out that way. The maps is still saying at like 6:45 it's going to take us an hour to get there. The show starts at 8, so we got very little time to chance anything. There's still not only just getting to the venue, but checking in, getting to your seats, getting a drink. So we were on our way and had a Lyft pick us up. I go for that extra comfort because it's only a couple dollars more because I have the Chase card and I get a little extra leg room. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I just don't like to bother people. And this is definitely a bad habit of mine. I'm too polite. It was a little stuffy in the car because it was kind of hot yesterday. And I'm like wearing grown-up clothes. Like, I go to the radio station in gym shorts and a black t-shirt. And here I am dressed up in a nice collared shirt, long sleeve jeans, my nice shoes. It was kind of hot with all the wind. And this guy didn't have his air on. And I didn't feel like asking. So I just kind of dealt with it. Sometimes I really, really, really get excited about the future and knowing that a Waymo will eventually move to the valley, and then I could just take the robot car where I could pick the music and I could turn up the air as much as I want. I really like the robo cars. Nothing against the Lyft drivers. I like the robo cars. And I think eventually that is the future, so we might as well get used to it. So luckily for us, as we're sitting on the freeway, traffic is getting a little better. traffic is getting a little better. All of a sudden, our ETA goes from 7:45 to 7:43, all the way down to we actually get down there at 7:30, which means that if I went with original plan A, we probably could have eaten really quickly at the food hall and then walked over to the Amundsen. But you know what? We're already here. It's not like we're going to go take another ride share down there and then come back. So let's just deal with it after. So then we're walking through, and there are a few bars and restaurants right in the area, but they all look very crowded, and we weren't that impressed with them the last time we were there a couple years ago for Dear Evan Hansen. There was a taco stand right outside the theater entrance. Could have gone there, but we weren't really feeling tacos. Here's the problem. I don't know about you, but once you've decided in your brain what you want as a burger, it's really hard to change that. Really hard. But whatever. We made it to the theater. We check in easily. There wasn't even a line to get in. I mean, the theater was packed, but they had enough people checking tickets that it wasn't like a whole thing. And then we remembered that our seats were up near the front, and right near the very front entrance to the seats, there is a little bar that very few people know about. So we go ahead and order our drinks, and like every theater now, you got to order your drinks. Then you got to order your pre-order drinks for intermission. And by the way, this is so cool. This is one of these theaters where they will let you bring your drink into the theater, but they give you like a sippy cup that's got a lid, almost like my 2-year-old niece has, what we call her turtle water. So I've got a little sippy cup full of just bourbon and ice. But it was good bourbon. And I had asked for a single, but realized that's not enough. So I said, you know what? Better make that a double. And she accidentally poured me a triple. So I was a happy boy. My wife got the specialty Once Upon a Mattress cocktail, which was like vodka and hibiscus syrup and something else. I can't remember the name. It had some kind of pun that had to do with the show. And we get into our seats. Didn't realize my wife sprung for some very close-up seats, probably the closest I've ever been at live theater, where you can actually see the white in the performer's eyes. And I don't want to say too much about the show, except that I believe it's running through January 5th, and you should go. It's so much fun. It is such a hilarious show. This is one of those things that's fun for all ages. A lot of people brought their kids, but if you're just adults, you're going to have a great time. The performances were great. Sutton Foster played Princess Winifred, but Anna Gasteyer from Saturday Night Live played the Queen, and there's so many people that we recognize from other things, and they were so good, and everyone was so funny. The music was great. We were laughing for the entire show, except for that 15-minute intermission where we were pounding more drinks. It was great. We had a wonderful, wonderful time. If you are in town up until January 5th, see if there's any tickets available for Once Upon a Mattress at the Amundsen. This production is spectacular, and it will put you in the best mood, and you will be laughing out loud. There's some things in there I would never spoil for you, but they are really, really funny. So the show ends. It's about 10:30, and we are in this little dilemma. I don't know if you've ever been through this. You probably have. You go out to a theater show. Maybe you go out to a concert. Maybe you go to the movies. You get out, it's 10 o'clock. Most restaurants, most restaurants that we tend to go to, they close around then. Like a lot of the haunts that we usually hit, we're not in our 20s anymore, so it's not like we go to bars and stuff. I think we're way too old to go to somewhere like Barney's Beanery. But all the things that we would think of doing, well, that's already too late. We have food I guess we could eat at home, but we really had burgers on the mind. But it's not like we can get our For the Wins because they closed at, guess what, 10 o'clock. So you ever find yourself kind of flipping through DoorDash, be like, what can I do? Because sometimes we do this. Whether you're going to an event and coming back, or you're coming back from the airport, let's say you landed at 8, 9 o'clock at night, it's kind of fun to have some food meet you at the house, right? And we've done that a few times. It's probably the only times we really order delivery is when we need something to meet us at the house, because by the time we get home, it's going to be 11, and we're going to, change and go get in an outline, which we have done, but we're feeling a burger. And my wife was resigned to, you know what? We have enchilada soup in the fridge. It's fine. And I happen to scroll through, like, is there anything I can do here? Because not only do I have to look for a burger, but I want to specifically look for a burger where I can get her a gluten-free bun. And to my surprise, around the corner from me is a fat burger. A fat burger that's open till 1:45 in the morning. A fat burger that has gluten-free buns. And I'm like, oh, I hit the jackpot. So I just kind of nonchalant show my wife the phone like, well, if you're still really feeling a burger, we could do this. And they have gluten-free buns. And it's been a while since she had fat burger. Been a while since I had fat burger. But she's like, yeah, that'll work. So we place our orders in. And then we're in the Uber on the way back. And the Uber on the way back is interesting. Driver was definitely a little older. The movements in the car were a little jerkier, but he was also driving very slow. So it was an interesting time. It was one of those rides where you realize you can't stare at your phone that much. And I'm trying to gauge, okay, when should I hit order so I get home either right before or right as the food's arriving to the house? And I'm looking at my phone, and the Lyft says, well, we'll be home in 20 minutes. And the Uber or the DoorDash says, well, if you hit order now, your food will be there in about 15 to 20 minutes. Oh, so this is perfect. So as we're going up the 101 freeway at 10:45 at night on a Thursday, I hit order on the DoorDash. All of a sudden, the car comes to a complete stop on the freeway at 10:47 at night on a Thursday. No, wait, it was a Wednesday. Doesn't matter. And what's going on here? Every car is stopped. We're at a crawl. My ETA on my Lyft app goes from 20 minutes to 22 minutes to 22 minutes to 22 minutes. 5 minutes later, it's still saying 22 minutes. Now I've got a real crisis on my hands because I already ordered the food, but we're not moving at all. We are crawling, getting a little desperate, like what's going on here? 15 minutes of bumper-to-bumper hell traffic at 10:50 at night. We finally realize what happened. Oh, Caltrans had to close a lane because they might do some construction later. Thanks, Caltrans. Appreciate that. Shut down the whole freeway practically for no reason. It's funny how they do that, isn't it? At this point, we're finally through the other side of this blockade of traffic at Hollywood Boulevard on the 101 freeway, trying to race across to the valley. But of course, this driver's not going more than 55 miles an hour when you should be going 65 to 70 on the freeway. Needless to say, the burgers arrived at the house way before we did. And that's okay. I did learn something, though. Skinny fries hold up way better than fat fries if they're sitting in a bag for 10 minutes. But to my surprise, the food was still warm and very good, very satisfying. In fact, I almost had this feeling of, gosh, this is what my 20s used to feel like. It's midnight, and I've got a big old burger baby in my belly. So that's where it occurred to me, you know, this might be a good go-to in an emergency when it's late at night and we need some late night noshing. That's where I want to hear from you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. The lesson learned in my very Los Angeles evening full of traffic is it's good to know places where you can order food late at night. If you have a go-to late night delivery spot when you need some eating after you went out, you come back from the airport, what have you, what's your go-to late night delivery if you have one? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you are looking for something to eat late at night, you want it delivered to the house, what's open for you? What do you get? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. If you have not heard every single hour that we do on the News Blitz, well, have I got news for you. We do a podcast of it. I personally cut it together. It's just this show, but I understand people get busy. People got things to do. Maybe you're not in the car at 5 o'clock. You can go to kabc.com/newsblitz or wherever you search for podcasts, search for the KABC News Blitz, wherever you search for podcasts, and give it a follow. They'll go straight to your phone. Listen to them when you need them. There is going to be a lack of content from everything you watch over the next 2 weeks, everything you listen to over the next 2 weeks. So catch up on some of our best times. And while I'm going to be out of here for the next 2 weeks, you will hear personally handcrafted best of the KABC News Blitz every single day at 5 o'clock. In fact, some of the days, like the holidays where there's no business news, you'll hear me at 4 o'clock as well. We're putting Best of the News Blitz on from 4 and at 5. So you'll be able to enjoy that as I will enjoy some Christmas times, as will you. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season ahead of you. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. My late night delivery journey led me to a Fat Burger that was open till 1:45 in the morning when we needed some grub at 11 o'clock at night. And it was delightful. Is there a late night delivery go-to for you when you need some grubbing late at night? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. And if you want to listen to the podcast of this show, search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcast. We'd really appreciate a follow. Share it with your friends. I got to tell you, if there's one episode you want to share with your friends, it's probably yesterday's show. I have gotten so much response to the 4 hours that we spent yesterday, 3 hours on the John Phillips Show and the 1 hour here, covering the crisis going on at the LA County Probation Department. Over the last 24 hours, I have gotten so many letters from employees of that department, of officers, of deputies, that really want to have their story told. There's definite fear of retaliation, so they're writing anonymously, but they all have very, very, very specific details, and to hear what's going on with those workers is heartbreaking. I read a few more of those emails on today's John Phillips Show from noon to 3, so you can listen to that. But we will definitely pick this story up. We're not letting this story go anywhere after the beginning of the year. We are going to make sure that the Board of Supervisors knows and does something about the completely unsafe working conditions at the LA County Probation Department. We are doing nothing but putting the gas on. Unfortunately, the only way to get your local elected officials to do something right sometimes is to embarrass them in the news media. And we can do what we can do here. We have a platform. It's small but mighty, but we do what we can. But I'm trying to do everything I can to get this story on television. And part of it is difficult because, for television, I don't have any journalistic standards here. I'm just a guy yakking into a microphone in front of his treadmill. But, news organizations like TV stations, there's certain standards where they have to have someone. If they're going to bring these kinds of allegations, they need them to go on record to add that kind of credibility. And I totally understand the fear there. There are whistleblower laws that protect people that blow the whistle on these kinds of deplorable conditions for workers. And if you are interested at all in having your story told publicly on the record, you can reach out to me at randykabc@gmail.com, and I'll connect you with the right people. I'm not looking for any fame in this. I just think we need as many eyeballs and ears on this story as possible because it was such an insult that the 5 supervisors, Horvath didn't even vote yes on the emergency declaration, but Janice Hahn and Holly Mitchell and Hilda Solis and Catherine Barger did not address what's really going on there. It was all about the inmates and not any reason why the employees are calling out. So continue to send those letters. I will continue to read them on the air when we get back because something has to change here. The conditions that have been going on there are a living hell. And nobody seems to have the back of some of these people who have worked for the county for 25, 35 years. Some of them are elderly. Some of them are disabled, and they're being forced to go into incredibly dangerous situations with incredibly, you think about, especially the last 4 years with George Gascon, who was actually getting sent to juvie? Nobody but the worst of the worst. And I mean the worst of the worst because George Gascon was also not trying anybody as an adult, even murderers. So even a murderer would go to a place like that. And they have all the power. The officers aren't allowed to do anything to defend themselves. And the Board of Supervisors doesn't want to talk about it. They just want to blame the employees for not showing up for work and call it a staffing crisis, which, again, they also created by instituting a hiring freeze. So we're not letting this story go. And if you have friends, you have family that are in that department, they want their story told, continue to send me your stories, your emails. We'll definitely open up the phones to this in the future when we get back from vacation. But if there's anybody that is willing to be the whistleblower and wants to go on record, let me know, and I will do everything I can to get that story told. I understand it's scary, it's dangerous, and there's retaliation, people's retirements, but this state is supposed to have whistleblower laws for a reason, even if the county or the state is the employer. And I just want some light shown on the darkness that is going on at places like Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall, our other camps. And the other side of this story, which is they've pulled so many field deputies into the halls that now there's no field deputies checking in on people who are supposed to be on probation, or people on ankle monitors, or people getting out of prison early. It's wild. But we're not letting that story go for a second. And in 2025, we had some goals, things that, we wanted to see through that, it's not like we can institute that much change. We're radio shows, but, we helped get the word out as best we could about the recalls that were going on in Alameda County with the Mayor Sheng Tao and Pamela Price. We tried to make sure we knew as much as people knew as much as they could about Prop 36. That did very well. We, of course, were very, very, very loud about George Gascon. But in 2025, the number one thing we got to do is we got to get the word out, and we got to get the outrage out as much as possible about the conditions going on at the probation department. This has gone on for way too long. And you can help, even if you are not affiliated with the probation department. If you happen to be a resident of Los Angeles County, having your voice heard in the term of sending an email to Catherine Barger, sending an email to Janice Hahn if she's your supervisor, calling their office, telling them the stories that you have heard on this very radio show, that stuff does matter, because currently they're only hearing from the interest groups, the ones who have a vested interest in closing this all together because that's what they believe. And they have infiltrated all of these oversight boards. Even the state oversight board is full of these groups. But the average person doesn't believe that nobody should be incarcerated for anything. So you've got to do your best to make your voice heard, and we'll do our best to make sure that we amplify those voices here, because what's going on there, it's not fair that these people who have dedicated their lives to public safety and the county and to rehabilitating children are getting thrown under the bus like this. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is my last show of the year. It's my last 15 minutes of the year. This is very exciting. It has been a very busy week with Johnny out of town. I pulled double duty, so it's 4 hours of just me a day, but y'all have kept me company. We've had some great calls, some great topics, and it's funny reflecting on the year because this show has been so incredible. This show has been so much fun to do, and most of it, of course, is news of the day, and we just kind of go with what's the most important thing, what is the thing that people want to call in and talk about, and it works out great. Sometimes it's just, here's the silly thing that I found that I think we'd love to discuss. But on Fridays, we do those happy hour shows, and that is, I mean, when I first realized, I don't know if when I first got into radio, I knew I wanted to be a talent. I think when I first got into radio, I just kind of wanted to work with Conway and Whitman. I thought they were very funny. But when I finally realized that I kind of had a knack for this, my whole act was, I love talking about food. The first bit that I would do regularly as a talent would be Mr. Fast Food on 97.1 KLSX. So that was always something that I loved. I always felt like food was such a common ground. And of course, it's more than food. It's drinks, it's travel, it's just enjoying our lives. It is truly a lifestyle show on Fridays. And I happen to write down on my phone a little topic tracker. Here's some of the happy hour topics we have covered this year in no particular order: breakfast burritos, sushi, steak, brisket. Those are two very different things. Pizza, hiking, California vacation spots. Okay, that was definitely one of my favorite shows, and I have a whole list of places I want to go, including trying to convince the wife this winter we want to go to Death Valley. Gumbo, burgers, fries. Because of that fries show, I went to this Douglas, which has been around in the Valley since the 60s, and oh my goodness, those are the best fries. Sandwiches, tacos, fried chicken, fish recipes. Did a whole show about where I should travel when I finally go to Europe next year. Cheap eats for those people balling on a budget. A whole show about the Santa Ynez Valley, Santa Barbara wine country, one of my favorite places in the state. Margaritas, fast food chains that you wish would move to California. That was a fun one. One of my favorite shows personally was when I did a whole show about how much I love Santa Fe, New Mexico. Guess where I'm spending New Year's. Pasta. Did a show on Halloween events, a show on soups, on Oktoberfest, comfort foods, what you do on your anniversary, and another really fun one, cities with the best food in America. And New Orleans won by a landslide. I have a whole list of topics we haven't done yet, but at some point we'll repeat some of these. And if you ever want to suggest a happy hour topic, you can do so by emailing me at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. And guess what? Every single one of those shows that I just mentioned, those are in the podcast. So over the holidays, if you're looking for something fun to listen to, download the podcast of the KABC News Blitz, search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get podcasts, or go to kabc.com/newsblitz. And you can download every one of those shows and hear all the great suggestions because I just put out the topic. It's you, the listeners, that call in with all the great recommendations of places where you can get some great eats, some great drinks, and some great travel. It's a heck of a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to way more of that in 2025. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC, and boy, is it time to celebrate. It is my last 5 minutes on the air in 2024, and I can finally say that my own show made it a whole year. Fun fact, in 2019, they gave me a 1-hour show at 5 a.m., but it only lasted for 3 months because they sold that hour to the morning news. I did it for the whole year, and I think we're here for next year too. So I am so excited. It has been so much fun to bring this show to you every day, to have that little stress ball in the back of my head. What are we going to talk about? Listening to way more sound than anybody ever should to prep for this show and for John's show. And I love it every day. It makes me so fulfilled to do this. And, I get to play for a living. This is not a real job, and I'm so blessed and grateful to do this. Before we get out of here, I do want to give some thanks to some of the people that helped make this thing happen. This little radio station, this pirate ship is small but mighty, and our team is incredible, and I want to give some love to every single one of them. Let's start off with our phone screeners. Maisa screens this show, and she is incredible because I demand a lot of calls. Adam screens the midday show, and he is fantastic. Trisha is our booker. She makes sure you hear all the great guests that are on the radio station. Wayman is the stellar board op extraordinaire. He is the best. We also want to give some love to our engineer, Matt, who helps puts on our live remotes. Eric, our IT guy. Herman, he is our imaging director. You hear his voice and some of the things you hear going in and out of segments. Want to thank our incredible sales team, Debbie, Missy, Patty, and Grant. They are all incredible. And if you need a campaign and you want to promote your business, it's not very expensive to get on the radio and get someone like me talking about your product. So get in touch with me. I'll get you in touch with them. Alex, who does our traffic. We got to give some love to Art, our assistant program director, Lewis, our program director, who helps put this stuff on, help make this show possible, Kevin, who is our promotions director, and he's also my brother. Larry, of course, our market manager. Oh, and I guess I should thank John Phillips. You know, he's my partner from noon to 3. He's a good guy. He's on vacation right now. I also want to give some love to the clients who help make this radio station a success and make it so everyone who I just mentioned gets to have a paycheck. Start off with Clark Fielding at Fielding Law, has been with us for 5 years. Our great friends at Sterling Venue Ventures, who I get to talk about all those fun events going on the weekend. This year, we got to talk about Nordic Catch, which was great. My fish company. I have a big slab of fish coming from them tomorrow. Gladstone's in Long Beach. That was the best live remote we've ever done. Fiddlehead Cellars, my favorite winemaker. It's so cool. I get to do spots for them. McKernan Inspections, our termite company that I love with my best friend Cassie. They're the best. Gelson Supermarkets. We love doing events with them. It was so much fun. Avner Gatt, who is a great guy that'll deal with you when you're screwed over by your insurance company. Tangible Investments, a great place to sell your old jewelry. BestHotGrill.com/KABC. That's the new Solaire Infrared Grill. The Purple Heart Foundation. The LA Vector Control District. Underdog Fantasy. I had a lot of clients in 2024. I am very blessed. And we are so thankful to all those companies that believed in KABC. And we make sure that when someone buys time on here, that it's successful for them. So we're very happy about all of that and looking forward to a very successful 2025. But then on top of all that, I've thanked the staff. I've thanked the clients. Got to thank you. Got to thank you, the KABC listener. Whether you just joined us this year, maybe you've been around for a few years. I've been at the station for 11. Or maybe you go all the way back to, I don't know, the Ken and Bob days, the Ray Bream days, the McIntyre days. We're so glad to have you. So glad that we still get to do this and bring you the most important local information that we can and do something that no other radio station does. And I don't know why they don't do it. We take your phone calls. We make your voice a part of the radio station. And we're so grateful for your contributions and for your support and making it happen. So everyone have a wonderful holiday season ahead of you. Thank you all so much for giving us the ability to do this every day. I'll see you in 2025. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.